All right, welcome to another episode of On the King's Dime. It is Tuesday or Wednesday, is it? Tuesday? Tuesday, the 19th of the 2nd. The season is officially over. No, woo! The regular season, that is, obviously we made the playoffs this season.
So that's how I feel about the regular season. Yeah. It's over, little clap, and this is the big time.
Yeah, the big time. So it's a top four playoff system where two teams play off against each other on a top and bottom. 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. We've drawn Melbourne in the finals. That's going to be a tough ask, but one I think we can kind of work our way through.
We got the big psychological win at the end of the season, and won quite convincingly. So I feel like that is a very positive step moving towards next week. Although we only have one finals game, we've already bought our tickets, so we will definitely be there. Come say hello.
But we'll go through that. We'll go through that. We won't get ahead of ourselves.
Won't get ahead. Let's take us to the last game of the season, which was against the Cairns Taipans, and one we needed to definitely win.
Yeah. It's a shame that we did blow a couple of games down the stretch of that season.
Yeah, there's a couple of easy wins I think we could have done with. We should have beaten Perth.
Probably should have beaten Perth, and I think maybe one of those Adelaide games in there, or one of those Adelaide-Perth games where we got trounced.
Or even Illawarra, where we just
Illawarra, there you go, at home. We got absolutely just flogged by them. You can kind of look at it and go, oh, we should have finished first. It would have been perfect. We played Brisbane. That's what we needed to do because we've beaten Brisbane 4 times. But at the same time, kind of shot ourselves in the foot a little bit. And, you know, you've got to go through the fire to get to the other side. And that's kind of how I feel about this season. Obviously, we'll go through the gay stuff a little bit later. But this season's kind of been encapsulated by just some sloppy things where you're just like, some
sloppy finishing. David Ware taking a long time to get going, but finishing on a pretty high note. Although he's not super productive, screening better, I think facilitating better, rebounding a bit better, being a bit more aggressive as well. So that's been a nice thing as well because I think we really know that 5 good starting round out. But shall we get on to the game?
Yeah,
obviously, no Jerome Randall for this game.
Pretty big, actually. It was so quiet after that Perth game. I couldn't find anything. No info, like no news or anything like that. And I thought, oh, he must be all right then. And then it comes to the start of that game and they sort of cut to a shot of him of saying basically, no, I wouldn't have been able to play today. Like, I'm out, basically. And I think even before the game, the Kings had said, oh, precautionary rest, precautionary. But then I was reading on the group that someone was saying, nah, he could be out for a couple of weeks, man. Like this doesn't look good. And then he kind of confirmed it on the broadcast that, you know, he could be out for a couple of weeks. And I thought, ooh, like I hope he said he'd be back, but it didn't sound very good.
No, I think it's a glute strain. So these things don't typically heal very quickly, just depending how bad it is. But Adnan stepped in the role.
Yeah.
Did a reasonable job.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. Not too shabby. We're lucky to have the backstop. What I don't get this season is Tom Wilson plays about 6 minutes in total and gets picked for the Australia team. It's just like, why didn't we see him? Yeah, congratulations, by the way. But why did we not see him this season in Sydney, getting in the colours, getting the games? You know, I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Like I was telling you before we started, like I've been going through the lineups a little bit, sort of going back through the season, and even a couple of those games where we were getting blown out. Like you were seeing starters still in at the 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. We're down 15. It's like, why? Just give it up, like type of thing. Give these young guys a go. And even we said halfway through the season, Denga Kuth probably got a bit more of game time. You know, as a rim protector, we kind of were crying out when Bogut was off the floor for a rim protector. Yeah. And Kickett was kind of doing a lot of that defensive work, and at times he was struggling with it.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think, you know, Tom Wilson, like congratulations to him for getting picked in the Australian team. A nice little note, like a little 50 in the back pocket from the Kings to the Aussie Basketball Association. Just keep some of our guys at home for this one, eh? Like, yeah. I think Sobey was picked and he declined it. I think he declined and said he doesn't want it. And Daniel Johnson, another one was picked as well, and they were like, nah, we're not playing. And then they picked Froling and someone else. But I was like, man, play for your country. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're not playing the finals. Like,
Well, this is also the thing with the Australian basketball team is that apparently
Do you like how I just slipped that in there? You're not playing in the finals, mate.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you and your weird tough stickers. Yeah, well, I mean, I think this is in the inherent issue with the Australian basketball team is that, Ben Simmons is not really happy with what they're providing. And maybe some of the other guys are looking to the same thing, saying, maybe our ability to rest and recover and what you're providing is not up to the standards of and you need to bring that. We're a top 5 basketball team in the world. You need to bring that. We have the money in this country to do that. This is an important part, an integral part of our sporting, I don't know.
The landscape, the fabric
because
of
our rugby union team is absolutely crap. Our cricket team is disgusting. We've had the highest NBL season attendance ever, highest ratings ever. So the NBL is actually picking up.
Yeah.
And
shout out to Bogut for that, definitely.
Yeah, shout out. That is Bogut. That is definitely Bogut. But also a better competition.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Getting some American guys in there and, obviously our seasoned vets. But you've got that. You want to back up on that. We're having 2 games at Etihad versus America.
Yeah, that's going to be massive.
Sold out, 50,000 people to watch a basketball game in a stadium. Get your binoculars
in a
out.
stadium.
Pointless. Sorry for the F-bomb.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I'll edit that out later.
Edit that out later. Going out live though. So we need to obviously bring that. Maybe they're not getting paid well. I don't know. It needs to be really thought before the World Cup because I think this is the team to finally beat the United States.
I think so. And I feel like the supplementary players are almost at a level where we've got maybe an extra 10 or 15 that are, you know what, you could plug that guy in there and he might give a decent showing of himself. Like we're not probably 20 deep in terms of the absolute top, like Simmons and some of the Aussies like Thon Maker and some of those guys.
Bolden.
But even I can go, Sobey in Australian colours, for sure.
Yeah.
Don't really like him, but in Australian colours, he's going to give his all. And even guys like Froling and Jawai, you can go, that's not bad. They're not too bad. So, but we've had this argument before we've talked about it before, where all sports in this country compete with each other.
Yeah.
Why can't all sports just go, you know what, everyone gets a space, the landscape's big enough. And the NBL's barely even on TV. It's on its own live platform.
Yeah.
And you're still getting AFL, and NRL. You know what I mean? It's fucking
NRL. NRL.
Can you just let all these sports coexist, advertise them all everywhere? But it's just everyone fights in this country. I don't understand it. But that's an argument on a different level.
That's for another podcast. But let's go into the game. Let's go into the game. It was a good win.
Yeah.
It was a good win despite having no Randall. Adnam stepped in, played quite well. 3-point percentage, 50%, so shooting quite well. Andrew Bogut, massive game, 5 blocks.
Yeah, man. Some of those
12
were really
rebounds.
Nice
They were massive, 6 assists. And also... MVP shout out. I called it.
Yeah.
I called it Defensive Player of the Year. Well, there was no one close in that respect. +9 on the night. Just a behemoth of Australian basketball and still playing in our local league at well above the rest of the pack.
I kind of was thinking about it at the start of the season. Even before the season started when we were doing the NBA stuff. I was like, man, we watched a whole season of Bogut. How awesome is that? And he's still kind of I wouldn't say NBA prime. He's kind of on the back end of his NBA career, but NBL prime is he's still an absolute force.
I mean, Kickett is absolutely woeful in defense, but he's still a decent NBL player.
Yeah.
He can spread the floor and shoot and back down. Whereas Bogut's dropped about 10 kilos and just running the floor better. And,
his offensive game has been, I talked about at the start of the season, we don't expect this guy to shoot many more than 7 shots a game. His offense really isn't the part of his game that you look at and you watch and you go, wow, what a player. The defensive end, the passing, and even watching him this season, some of his scoring where you're just oh, you got it. Nice. Good hook. Nice hook.
But he's no hog. He takes 7 shots. You're right. He probably takes 7 to 8 shots a game and he either scores 14 or 8. But it's still productive.
Yeah.
He's not hogging the ball.
And then you got 6 assists here, 12 rebounds, 5 blocks. it's crazy. And I think he fouled out in the first game and then I don't think he fouled out since.
No, very smart. Getting much smarter with some very bad refereeing.
It was basically Bogut on Jawai in this game, and he pretty much just destroyed Jawai. Jawai couldn't get anything going in this game. Alex Loughton, who retired, he played all right for the Taipans. Brian Bowen played pretty well in this game. I thought he looked good coming up to the playoffs. He looked a lot more intense, like really trying to take the game to by the scruff of the neck. Rebounded really well. Brad Newley played really well in this game.
Yeah, I think they're all heating up towards the end of the season. Brad Newley definitely slashing a lot better, getting some of his 3-point back, 40% this game, 2 assists, 6 rebounds. I think they're getting a little bit better at offensively boarding, crashing the glass a bit better. It's funny, I saw a comment on the Kings board saying, you can't mid-range rebound, Well,
yeah, what was up with that?
You can't mid-range rebound. You can't plan for it, but your guards can stealth the floor and move instead of standing in next to Bogut. There's no point them being around Bogut and Ware. Ware's 6'10", Bogut's 7 foot. Get out a bit. Be out in some areas where you might get a lucky rebound. That's what a mid-range rebound's about.
Well, it's our guards are so small. Like Adnam's 6 foot. Or 6'1", I think he's 186 centimeters. And then Randall's, 5'10", 5'11". It's part of having such an elite rebounder is that you need your guards or you need a guard and a small forward or one of your power forwards. They've got to be on boxing out. And a lot of teams about probably just after halfway through the season, a lot of teams started to go, right, just go at them, go at the glass, try and destroy them on the glass. And we struggled against it and then fought back and thought, we'll play differently, we'll play like this. And you could feel like, oh, we've tidied that up. That feels really good. Like it's good to see us doing that. I still feel like it might be a little bit of a problem in the finals itself, but we've got some more weapons to throw at, like Ray Turner coming in.
Definitely got an elbow game, which is what I said. Was exactly true. We needed a guy that could spread the floor a little bit as a 5, who had a little bit of an elbow game and just stop the bleeding. Because we were gushing
on the offensive
blood.
end, yeah.
All we need to do is not have a -10 when Bogut was off the floor, -2 or 4 or 5, and we'd win games. And it happened like that.
Yeah.
As soon as he kind of got integrated in the team and didn't call himself off because he was tired, got a bit fit.
Ray puffed.
Marshmallow
Man. So, yeah, he turned into Rainbow Ray Turner, shooting some nice jumpers. I think he finished with the best field goal percentage from 2. I think it was about 65%.
Yeah.
But low volume.
Low sample size.
12 to 15 shots per game. But he played quite well. He's given us a little bit of a boost this season. But yeah, what else happened in this game? Tom Wilson got some minutes here to 3 that looked pretty good. Perimeter defense was still a bit ordinary. Lish played quite well, but he was shortlisted too for the defensive player of the year.
Fouls on Lish this game, 11.
Yeah, I know. But then he kind of got the hack of Lish towards the end. I think it was 3 or 4 of those where they were trying to save the game and he was shooting free throws. But how did you feel without Randall?
It felt good. It felt better than I expected. I really thought the Cairns could potentially pinch this game without Randall. But Adnam is not a bad offensive player. Where he obviously lacks is his defensive prowess. He does get some bad no calls though.
Going to the bucket.
To the bucket where he just gets absolutely annihilated and you're like, that's not an and one?
Can we get a call here?
Can we get a call? Hello.
But Randall cops that as well. Like he cops the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like against the Taipans, no worries, we can get by with Adnam playing at the point. But against maybe Melbourne, I would be like...
Randall. We need Randall for this one. I think Randall is integral to get us to where we need to be in this game and moving forward. For the series, he's got to drop 30 points a night.
You reckon?
He's got to take over. Because if we're not facilitating through Ware, because Melbourne are very good at running them off your line. So we know that it's the inside game that's going to matter the most, and that's where Randall's mid-range game is superior. Is, coming around screens, getting David Ware to set screens, Bowen, being really aggressive on the boards. That's what's going to win the game against Melbourne. Because I think last game, Bogut absolutely slammed Boone. Boone had nothing.
Yeah, Boone didn't play well at all.
So we need to obviously go at that.
But I was kind of looking at their roster. they don't really have another big man beyond that.
No,
really.
they don't. So once you annihilate him,
Pledger, that's it.
Yeah, Pledger's.
But then
he's not really a big man. He's more of a mobile forward. Yeah. I
But
don't.
yeah, we'll go through that. First, we'll talk about the awards night, I think, moving on from the game.
Yes.
Bogut, obviously winning Defensive Player of the Year. My shout-out, obviously, to Kevin Lish making the shortlist.
Yeah.
Because he is fantastic this year, man.
Yes.
Some of his perimeter defense, especially towards the end of this season when he clamped Goulding, Goulding hit 2 threes and Kevin Lish came off the bench. I think that's the highlight of his season defensively, where he just put the clamps on Goulding. So shout out to him for that. And then obviously Dane Pinot's hilarious speech. Like, what was that? He must have lost a bet or something.
Yeah.
Because I think Bogut, I did listen to an interview where Bogut kind of said, oh yeah, no, Dane, he took it well. He went up there, he did it, like good on him type of thing. So he must have lost a bet and said,
he said something. Yeah, he's had to do something.
What about the reaction? Did you see the reaction on Twitter and stuff, on Facebook? Everyone was like losing their minds. Disrespectful. This is a disgrace. I can't believe this. Look, this is terrible. Like, what? Just calm down.
Yeah. Well, I think, no, not really. The guy puts up 10 to 15 points a game when I think Melo Trimble averages 22. So that's the highest.
Where, are you talking about Defensive Player of the Year or MVP?
MVP.
No, I'm talking about Defensive Player of the Year.
Bogut. He blocks the most.
when he sent Dane Pinot up, everyone was saying this is so disrespectful. Like, Bogut's a clown. This is a disgrace.
Yeah, he's a clown, but he's funny at least.
What? Like, let's just hang on. Like,
you know why? Because he knew he was winning MVP.
Well,
he didn't want to go up twice.
Maybe, yeah, that was one take. Everyone was saying that. But I would have just thought like they made a bet or some point at some. I'll play a one-on-one and whoever wins, if I win Defensive Player of the Year, you're going up for the speech. Yeah, right, I'll do it. Like, and then, because that's what
that must be after he got that haircut. We're like, yeah, you're doing that.
Oh, the haircut. That's the highlight of
Emmett Nah cutting his hair. He's just like, you're going up to give that award
That
speech.
hair's recovered actually pretty well.
Yeah, mate. He's got a good head of hair, the old Pinot, but that's that I imagine was the turning point when people just like, nah, buddy, you're going to have to give a speech for that one.
Yeah, or something. I reckon something will come out where Bogut basically told him, or he lost a bet or something, stitched him up, and he had to go up and give the speech. I thought it was pretty funny, but everyone lost their minds on social media. Obviously, then the MVP, him winning the MVP award.
People lost their minds about how does Bogut win MVP?
The salt was hilarious.
It was just like, this guy changes the way teams play. Changes.
I thought it was really funny. Like,
yeah.
The conspiracy stuff where this is rigged. And you're just like, it's voted by all of the freaking coaches. Like, how can it be rigged? It can't be rigged. Like, teams are obviously playing our team being like, holy shit, Bogut's fucking great. Like, had 3 points for Bogut because he was awesome in this game. Like, averaging 3 blocks a game. Like, it was insane.
Because he blocked all your shots. And the amount of shots he changed. And then the rebounding, like 10 rebounds in the first quarter. And you're like, just his stat sheet alone. I'm pretty sure if you went one for every point and one for every other stat, he would have won by a country mile. Yeah. Assists. Like he was top 7 assists or something.
The dropping dimes and good dimes too. If you watch the game, like quality dimes. And someone did mention on the Facebook group that Cotton was injured for I think 4 or 5 games. Yes. And then I thought, that makes sense. If you're losing points in the middle of the season when that's happening, okay, like people are voting for it. You can't vote for a guy that doesn't play, obviously, game by game. So that kind of made sense. And then Casper Ware, obviously, I think he came in second, did he?
I'd imagine so. But he's a scorer. Defensively, he's pretty small.
That's kind of, it goes to the age-old, if you look at just the stats, what do those stats mean? Scoring, great. 28 points a game, that's great. You helped your team win a lot of games, that's great. But if you kind of put that up against Bogut and really look in depth into the stats, I think you'd probably come to the same conclusion that holy crap, averaging like 12, 16 with 3 blocks and 6 or 7 assists or whatever it was. Like you've got to look at that and go, Jesus, this is insane. But looking at it on a game by game, people voting for it, I can totally understand Bogut winning that.
Yes.
Because they would have all just gone, Bogut, 3 points.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, Bogut, 3 points.
He would have had a point at least every game for Sydney. That's realistically. And most of them were 3 points because people are like, oh,
3 blocks, and 15 points, 12 rebounds. Like, crap. Like, holy, how are we meant to play against this? Whereas Casper Ware, like you got Goulding on that team, Barlow, like it's just a bit of a different.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand if we had an amazing guard, like if Randall had to average 26 points a game or something like that. But part of the way Bogut played for us this season, it was really obvious early on that Randall kind of looked at his game and went, "Oh, I can't do what I do with this guy in the team.
Yeah.
Like I have to change the way I play." And it took maybe 7 or 8 rounds until you started going, yeah, that's the way you drive off the opposite side, you come down the weak side, you kick, you pass, like you do that. And you could see him feeling it too, like, oh, okay, yeah. He had that big game against Melbourne where he went off because we needed that. And it's like, you keep that little one in the back pocket and you play it when you need it. And then you look at Bogut being able to change the way we set the team up to basically do all these different things. It's like he has to be MVP, man, for me anyway. And that's not even noshing him off and being like, Bogut's great, yeah, it's all hail Bogut. Like I'm like looking at what he did.
Yes.
It's phenomenal, man.
It's beyond phenomenal.
But at the same time,
MVP
I can understand the salt.
Look, the salt in a team.
But I love it. It was fantastic.
You probably look at the guy that would be closest to him would be Bryce Cotton. Obviously, he was out for 5 weeks. Then he didn't get it that way. Casper Ware's next. But again, Melbourne...
It's kind of just points and that's about it.
Points, maybe a couple of dishes. Like, you can't take points in their own. The amount of shot blocks, the amount of screen assists. Like, you have to go behind the numbers sometimes to look. How many shots did Bogut change that just... Team shooting percentage with Bogut in. They were forced to take so many threes because they know they're not getting anywhere near the paint. Plus and minus when he's on the floor. Like, those are the other things you have to look at. Plus minus when he's off the floor. It's like, shit, he has such a big impact on this team. When he's off the floor, the team just bleeds.
It bleeds points. And you could see that in, obviously we'll go through in another episode, just the full season stats and some stuff like that.
Yeah, we're going to do a complete season. We've got statistician Ben here doing a complete season
geeking out on
the stats line. Sort of so he's going to give you all plus minuses for all combinations.
Oh, hopefully, if I can get to that. That takes a while to do, but I'm getting there. And then I went through and just, all real plus minus for every... The stats will blow your mind.
Blow your mind.
For me, it was just hands down. Like you called it halfway through the season in our half-season review. So props to you for that.
Whoop, whoop.
I'll get up and make the speech because I lost that one. But I had no problems with it. I think the salt's probably justified. A lot of people just don't like him, man. I don't get it, but I mean, he's outspoken on Twitter, I guess, and
bit of a troll.
Yeah, a little bit. I could see
bit anti-media,
a little bit of diva in him,
a little bit grumpy.
Yeah,
a little bit grumpy cat. He's a grumpy cat. That's fair enough.
But man, I loved watching it. I couldn't have had a better sort of watching this team and just being like wow.
Yeah, because you're a Warriors fan as well.
Yeah,
but that gives you
nobody
needs
to know that.
That gives you a nice thoroughfare to
for sure. But to see him live, man, like I don't think you haven't seen him live this year. Watching him live, you're just like, it's phenomenal, man. Yeah. Just watching this guy, 7 foot, and especially watching him against Jawai, where you see them come down court and Bogut's like this and Jawai is like that, and you're just like, how are you banging against this guy? He's 150 kilos. Like, this is crazy. Like, so yeah, no, that was good. A good night for the Kings. Anything else we need to talk about rather besides going on to Melbourne preview?
That's it. Let's get on to the Melbourne preview. Got a week off for some international window. Aussies playing 2, even though they're kind of just dead rubbers. Really interesting Aussie lineup. A few some internationals. Euro guys. Some G League guys.
Yeah, Mitch
Creek. And old Erie Bayhawk Humfo.
Yeah.
Ex-King.
Shout out former Kings, yeah.
Former Kings, Isaac Humfo, who, man, some of the games he played for the Erie Bayhawks, like we've seen the highlights. Holy shit.
Yeah, he looked really good,
3 and D.
Far out. Man.
Dribble drives. It was like,
year? Like he was
holy crap, you knock it down a corner 3. So that's really cool to see. But Melbourne, I think the most important matchup.
Actually, before we go on to Melbourne, we probably should talk about Gazy. The big announcement.
Yeah, man. He's pulled out all his grey hairs and he's leaving due to being a bit stressed.
Yeah, so did you see he gave an interview and basically said this had been decided halfway through the year?
Yeah.
I was like, don't come out and say that. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you saying this? But did you feel like I kind of could feel something wasn't right, man? Like all season, even like it just
He's
like I don't want to be here going. Thank God he's stopped me from being like, we need to make this decision, Kings. We need to make this decision. Either get rid of him. Like
he's been able to put a fantastic team on the floor this year. Let's not forget that. He's been able to do that. He's been able to put in 2 guys, 3 guys, which are superstars of the NBL, and make it work.
Yeah.
He's been able to do that. Although we question some of his tactics at times, I think that's probably overthought from his part, but he's been able to put Randall, Bogut, and Lish on the floor together and get some really good players around them to make a run at this, where Sydney has not been there in years. So props to him. He's done it. He's got to see it through. Finish off the chapter at the Kings. Like he's our greatest domestic player of all time. You got to give him props for that, even though we kind of trash him a bit on this as well.
But we love him. We love him.
You know, he's great, and he's found a way to make it work, and it seems to be getting better each week. For my mind, he's a more tactical coach. He's not a matchup coach. He's just like, okay, 8 minutes, 2 minutes, time based. I think that potentially if Rob Beveridge comes in, matchup guy. We keep the same team. Newly's a lot of the guys off contract. Bogut's the only one who's still on contract, and Randall I think's got a year option.
I think Lish might be.
There's a couple of options.
We'll check that anyway before we do the season
review. Yep.
But I still kind of felt like with Bogut coming in, the card went down on the table. It was basically like you've got this guy, now make it work.
Yeah.
And even from last year to this year, I still didn't feel like it was like, well, yep, Gaze is the man for the job. He's turned this stuff around. It kind of feels like half and half, where you're just like, you could be doing a little bit more here and here and here, but, you know, for the season we've had, like it's been a great season, and watching this team has been great and a great experience, but there's still always been that nagging thing in the back of my mind with that. If he left, I'd be like, sweet. I'm happy that happened, rather than have to be sitting there and going, he re-signed another season of like having to watch through things happening. And like, I'd prefer him to make the decision. I'm leaving. Like at the end of this season, I'm going to leave. I'm taking the decision out of your hands. We've come to this agreement.
I think it is.
I'm leaving.
I do believe stress was a factor in the deciding.
That's fair enough too. And the other aspect of it is the win one for the Gipper mentality. I think this team is probably a better fit for the, you know what, we're going to send this guy out of here than hold on to your cards and then at the end of the season be like, oh, I'm making this decision. Like, this team is already kind of built.
Yes.
And with Bogut, it's you've got to play some pretty high level basketball to really utilize his full array of talents. And it's going to take a couple of seasons, really. Even sometimes this season where you kind of like, it works sometimes and you went, oh, this is great. And then some other times you're just like, what's happening? Like, what the hell just happened? Like, that didn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
Like, what? But man, like, hats off to him if he wants to make that decision, take the decision out of the organization's hands. Like, I was more happy for that to just happen than to get to a point where I'm like, yeah, he's out. I want him out, you know, because I never got to that point.
No.
Like, sometimes I went, what is going on? But ultimately it led down the path of, I'm leaving. So yeah, good on him, man. Like, I'm happy for this team now to be just like, let's win one for this bloke.
Yeah.
Which I hope will translate. So you reckon Rob Beveridge? Obviously, that's
the thought process out in the world.
I wonder if we're going to keep Leonard Copeland. Or wonder if they're like a package deal.
They're usually a package deal with coaches and all those kind of guys. But
I love Leonard Copeland.
Yeah, he's funny. Let's move on to the Melbourne game.
So yeah, hats off to Gazy, I guess.
Hats off. Have a beer on Gazy. We're going to talk about some pretty key matchups in this Melbourne series. I think Lish and Goulding, Bogut and Boone, and Ware and Randall.
Yeah.
I think everyone else is just playing some fiddles in the background. I think those are the three key matchups. Lish really locking down Goulding at all times, not letting that guy get off. Because he's one of the guys like Bryce Cotton who can just start going off like a firecracker and draining threes. If Bogut pretty much nullifies Boone, then it's going to give Ray Turner some good minutes to get out there and press that. And, you know, Randall and Ware are always just going tit for tat. So usually when Ware heats up, Randall heats up as well.
Yep.
So happy for that to go off. But I think really the key ones for my mind is Boone and Bogut and Lish
Golding.
But
even Randall and Ware is probably on the same level.
Same level, but they kind of go tit for tat, whereas Lish is such a good defender, he can just lock Goulding down. It doesn't really matter about what Goulding do to Lish because Randall can facilitate. Some cockies.
Here's some cockatoos. The biggest thing in my mind is whether Gaze is going to shorten the rotation.
I don't want to see that. I wouldn't mind seeing Deng Deng in for some minutes, some guys. I saw a nice rotation in against Cairns with Deng Deng and Bowen on the floor. That's a quick group. I think that, but then they had Kick It on, and it's just kind of like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Get Ware on fast.
Yeah.
Fast flowing, you know, some good, you know, transition ball with Randall in there. So when he gets down the court, you got two young guys who are going to keep up with him and can run the floor and give him options when he's, you know, going hell bent on the basket. Because usually what happens is he has to back out or kick out and there's a steal or a fumble because people are still trailing. So it's again, matchups, right, you know, the right group on the floor at the same time is going to be very, very important. But I do think Bogut will Gaze will shorten the lineup.
Yeah, the rotation a little bit. I think going into this series, if we didn't have Ray Turner and we were still kind of relying on Pinot, not to
he'd be playing 4 minutes,
keep ragging on him, but yeah, it's changed the way our mindset is when Bogut comes off the floor, which is an important part of both ends because it allows Kick It to play a little bit better, a little bit more trail Kick It, less you're the designated scorer Kick It now. Because I was talking to you before we started this, like a few of these teams have 2 or 3 big men who can play in the post.
Yeah.
Melbourne's not really one of those teams. Like they have Kennedy and Barlow that can kind of attack the rim a little bit. Barlow's not the worst post player, but beyond Boone and maybe Pledger, that's kind of all they really have. And we're the same. Like Bogut, you wouldn't classify as a post scorer.
Kick It can back down.
But even Kick It, I've got it in the bag. Like it's in my bag. I can pull it out. He's not. That's the only way I scored. Really the only guy who you kind of want to play that role is David Ware. But he can't do that. Like we haven't seen that at all this season.
No.
Where give me a touch in the post, I'll back someone down. Like he hasn't done that at all. He's been more of a mobile guy. So that kind of plays into our hands a little bit. Yeah. It kind of changes the way our rotations work a little bit. But it's going to be interesting to see, like, Boone's going to have to play really well. If you look through here, like, Goulding didn't play the first game. He had 6 in the second game, 16 in the third game, and then 16 in the last game. And we've held them to 85 in the last game and 75, 84, and then 75 again. So, like, they're not a high-scoring team against us. They're not going to run up a 110 like Adelaide or run up to 100, really. We've kept them quiet.
It's just about us facilitating our attacking end.
And I don't know if we can, like, in a rhythm, just roll and outscore them. But at the same time, our defense is at a level that when it becomes like a real arm wrestle, I think we can kind of beat them in that sort of sense. Like we've seen some things recently in the recent game that we can do that. Like we can take their arm wrestle and rip it away and take it. The other aspect, obviously, we didn't get the home final to start.
Yeah.
So they beat Perth in that final game to get the home final, finishing second. I feel like we could fire up and just smack them in the mouth, like in the first. Yeah. Look, we took game one. Thanks for that. Like, that's always going to be in our pocket. Like, we're going to have that little trick up our sleeve, and I feel that plays into the way this team's constructed and the way they play as well. So I'd be looking for us to kind of punch them in the mouth in the first game.
Take it away from them on the home
and
run.
Win that first game in Melbourne. We obviously haven't beat them in Melbourne, I'd think, in freaking 10,000 years since the construction of the Colosseum or something like But yeah, anything else apart from that?
That's pretty much it. I'm excited.
I'm
to
looking
see.
forward to it, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a good weekend. We'll be at the game.
Yeah,
on the
at
Sunday.
the home game. Yeah.
Already got tickets. Made sure of that. So if you see us, come say hi. If you want to chat, no worries. Sure. We're pretty friendly peeps. Yep. But yeah, looking forward to it, and I hope they obviously pull through. But we'll be back later this week.
Yeah.
With a full regular season
probably,
wrap up. And giving you
pre-playoffs season wrap, basically.
Yeah, definitely. All right,
cool.
man.
All right, nice work. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in.
Like, share, and subscribe. iTunes, YouTube,
Podcast
Facebook,
Addict,
Podcast Addict.
Like us on Facebook.
Like us, subscribe. Leave us a review on iTunes if you can, because that's cool. Everyone says that's cool, but we haven't got one yet, so we don't know. No. But we'd like one. Yeah. 5-star.
5-star Uber.
Yeah, all right. Take it easy, and we'll see you later on in the week.
All right.
See you, peeps.